Clive Berghofer is one of Queensland's leading businessmen, and he's a self-made businessman and he's a self-made entrepreneur. Clive Berghofer is not a wonderful Queenslander, he's a wonderful Australian. He has made donations and philanthropic contributions that are way beyond the Queensland in terms of their impact. His impact on medical research and therefore on health is outstanding. Clive is proudly Toowoomba and proudly Queensland. Clive is somebody who identified in Toowoomba opportunities that may not have been identified before he did so. He identified how to have a major hotel. He identified how to have a major development span that became an enormous shopping centre. He also identified the need for young couples to have houses that were achievable. And in all of those things, he mixed the the developer in him with the politician who can get things done, with the resources that he could put in to make a difference. And that then permeated through the rest of the community into the hospitals and the sporting facilities in particular.
I've been in Queensland all my life. Toowoomba's number one to me, Queensland number two. No one started close to the bottom than I did. I was born in 1935 when the war started. It finished in 1946. And that was 10 years of pretty hard living, and we had no money, lots of things, no electricity, no facilities whatsoever. So I come fourth in my class. That's better than say I come bottom because there's only 4 in the class. I was so bad at school I was frightened. Those days when you did grade 7, you went into the exam and they said it's no good, you're going to, because you won't win. I said that's the best news I've ever heard because I was so bad at it. All I got to do is beat these other guys. I got to work harder than them. At 14, I used to go bag sewing weekends, and that was all no bulk handling then. It was all bags of wheat. And at 14, I made the record of the number of bags I could sew. I was so determined to do things to beat the other guy. And I used to go out weekends, night time, and holidays and everything, and do all these odd jobs around the district. But I had no education, so I couldn't get an apprenticeship as a carpenter. So I got a job as a carpenter's labourer at Oakey. And I thought, if they can do it, why can't I? So I watched them and I thought, now I learned by their good things and their bad things. If I saw that getting done and I didn't like it, I'd say, well, I did this and make it so much better and so much quicker. From 1959 to 1972, I built 600 houses with one gang of men, and we had to do everything those days. You didn't have one bloke digging foundations, another bloke doing this and what have you. You did the whole thing yourself. And I've done something like 10,000 allotments in the city, and I could buy the land myself. I could design what I wanted myself. We could build it with our own hands, and we sold it. And a lot of people are just investors. They employ somebody to do. A consultant to do this, and a real estate agent to do that, and a bank to do this. And I built up my own banking account that I can just go and say, I want that piece of land, and I can say, well, here's the cash. You don't have to wait. Well, I've always dreaded paying interest, so I try to avoid paying interest. And so when I borrowed money, I borrowed it very little, and I paid it back very quickly. And I always had my own machinery. I thought, if he can make money hiring the machinery to me, I must be able to make money owning it. And that's how I've worked, and that's how I've kept my prices down. I've kept land prices down. I had the monopoly on land in Toowoomba to keep prices down, because the more you sell, the more bigger your turnover is. A lot of people get monopolies to put prices up. I don't want to do that. I want to look after the goose that laid the golden egg, sort of thing. Well, it's hard to say, but I love recessions, because what I did, I looked after the people in bad times. And I don't care how bad it is, there's always someone with money to spend. And I've seen it so many times, you know, and I looked after people in bad times and they looked after me in good times, and that's respect again from public, you know. I don't want to take people down, I want to, you know, help them. When I became mayor, I used to work with the workers. I protected the workers, and I'd find things out of the workers that were going bad, and I'd go to the engineer and say, this is not working. And they say, how do you find all these things out? So this is some of the things that's just in you. When I was mayor, people would come to me with a problem, and I'd say, I've been there and done it, I knew whether I could fix it or not. And you know, I'd sit him down, and if I could fix it, I'd say I'll fix it. If I couldn't, wasn't sure, I'd say I'll do my best for you. If I fixed it, I was a hero. If I didn't fix it, they said, at least you tried.
Yeah, I think when Clive, if he speaks about having common sense, that is very down-to-earth Clive. He's not fazed by or impressed by those who've got big degrees or long lists of publications. If you're steady, he'll see through you. If he feels that you're the genuine article, then he will bond with you and really helpful. So Clive is somebody who is extremely hardworking, and he is a visionary in an unusual sense. Sometimes visionaries are vague, strategic, I'll get there. Clive is very pragmatic. Like, he would know that there's no point in trying to start this if you're not able to end it. And I think that has been an excellent part of his input into everything that he has touched. So we've all learned that we have to finish it. And at the same time, there's a point about Clive that may not be appreciated when you've got large sums conferred on you, as happened in QIMR. He was not interfering.
So far as philanthropy was concerned, I've given around about 110 million up to date, but I give away something like about $150,000 a week, I think it works out for my pledges and things that I've approved.
So there are different ways of measuring what Clive has brought to Queensland. One would be the financial contribution. The one that I'm very aware of is to QIMR, Berghofer Medical Research Institute. Over 60 million of his own money that he has handed over in trust to the Institute to do its work. I know the figures there, and I know the jobs that are retained and created because of that. He also has, however, had a huge impact in Toowoomba. In nearly every aspect of Toowoomba life, he has maintained and grown and added value to it. And that is something, the whole community benefits from that. And the third area that I would see is his major contribution to the Broncos. How many people have enjoyed the Broncos most seasons because of the effort and the money that he's put into their training pitches and all of the rest of it. I was talking to Clive and I was recognizing the magnitude, the enormity of what he was giving to QIMR. And I thought that should be recognized. I think by having his name on the building and in being known as QIMR Berghofer, as it is now currently all over Australia, meant that people would ask the question, how did that happen? Who is this person? And then you learn the great generosity and the giving of a gift in the real sense of a gift, to do something with it as we wished.
I sponsor basketball, hockey, soccer, rugby league, rugby union, AFL, swimming, speedway. Like, I don't discriminate. The reason that I do it is the rugby league, I understand it probably more. You know, having no connection with sport all my life, I understand rugby league, but probably the rugby league years ago, going back 50 years ago, rugby league was the whole family. Like Sunday, we had all the local clubs played, and the family went to the How I got involved with the Broncos, I was a major sponsor of the Clydesdales in Toowoomba, and they became the feeder club of the Broncos, and that's why I sort of got closer to the Broncos.
There's a great similarity between Chuck and Clive. Both of them have given an enormous amount of money into the system, out of their hands, let people get on with things. Both of them are simple individuals, there's no masquerading, there's no pretension. So both of those things are the characteristics of those two extraordinary individuals. And I think you can put the two of them in the same box. Globally, Chuck Feeney would be well known. Locally, Clive is well known. He should be better known in Australia because he is one of those individuals who has been self-made, made a difference, and then made a difference for everybody else.
Well, probably QMR is the biggest, but it excites me the fact that I've left a trail of stuff behind me that I can be proud of. I remember as a guy that helped people. I don't want him to say, well, thank God he's bloody gone. I'm a Queenslander through and through. I don't like New South Wales, I'm going to tell you. If it's a football or whatever it may be.
It's a great question to ponder on. What would Clive put on his tombstone if they still do those things? And I think he'd be short in words and say something like, I made Toowoomba.